Bienvenidos, fans of the hottest entertainment on the planet. Jaimé En Fuego here, and my coverage continues from the Fantasia International Film Festival 2026, the landmark, the milestone 30th anniversary of the festival. Damn, do I wish I could be up there in the Great White North, Montreal, Quebec, Canada. That is where one of the most respected genre festivals on the planet takes place on the annual. And yeah, I'm just, at least for this second year of doing virtual press, I'm down here in the deadly desert of Arizona, which is a, well, it's a hellscape right now. 117 Fahrenheit, I think is what today was. God damn, it was wretched. But you know what was not wretched? Do you know what was amazing? Do you know what was in my favorite films of the year now? It's a film from Japan. This was the North American premiere of it, and it's called Break Free! Yeah, guys. And so this is actually one of two different films at Fantasia this year. I have yet to watch the other one, which is called The Specials. But since I haven't watched that yet, there's no basis of comparison aside from the fact that I know that both of these films have Yakuza engaging in dance competition stuff. Yup. Doesn't it just sound whacktastic and silly? I'm very much still looking forward to watching The Specials. I have the screener already, but this one I got to first because of the fact that it just had its North American premiere at Fantasia. Unfortunately, it is a one-night only thing, so yeah, you're definitely going to have to keep an eye out for this because this shit was so funny. So funny, man. So we have our lead character, and I just want to make sure that I get his name correctly. Kunio. And so Kunio we meet at the very beginning when he is at this bar drinking like crazy with a couple buddies of his, and turns out there was some sort of false advertising going on about, they saw this tout where it was like, all you can drink, and so on and so forth for one price, and then these guys try to swindle them at this establishment. But lo and behold, these guys didn't know that these peeps are Yakuza, these three guys that they're trying to screw over for this money, and a bloody melee ensues. But this is the opening credits of this crazy fight, and the Kunio character, one of the guys, one of his buddies from the Yakuza, brings out a disco dance ball, and then yeah, Kunio is dancing, and then there's fighting, and it's violent and silly and all that other stuff. So the amusing angle of this film is that based on some new organized crime laws, they have a very amusing sounding narrator that explains it at the very beginning about how the Yakuza is in decline, and so they're having to get different odd jobs and stuff. One of them is dressed up in this rabbit outfit, and he's handing stuff out. Then there's another one who's trying to work with computers, and he's terrible with electronics and things of that nature. And then Kunio is actually going around doing Uber Eats, and he gets his account suspended after some crazy interaction with some dude that was straight up The Shining with his head stuck in the door in blood and all this other shit. So yeah, what ends up and the thing that is so funny is that they try to make it seem really sad that the Yakuza can't continue with their violent organized crime craziness. They play it up with sad music and all this other stuff. It's just hilarious, man. But so they are very intent on not just, harming civilians because of the fact that if they harm civilians, their cover would be blown, essentially, that they're these low-key, Japanese mobsters and everything. And so there's a scene early in the film where Kunio has this guy who is starting some shit with him or ridiculing him, something to that effect. It's been a day or so since I've watched it, so the specifics of the scene. But the important part is that as opposed to actually beating the shit out of this guy, Kunio decides to do this intimidation dance kind of thing on him. And lo and behold, this influencer girl actually films him doing it, and she has hundreds of thousands of followers. She posts it online, it goes viral, and the rest is history because Kunio and his bosses at the Yakuza see this as a potential money-making opportunity for their organization. And it takes a little refinement and everything, including Kunio meeting back up randomly with the girl who actually filmed him. And she's like, no, you need to change your name to Break Free. You need to, because that's what I called the video. And he actually goes and starts taking a dance class with a bunch of children. And there's this little brat girl that is just giving him hell the whole time. It's so funny. It's amusing situation after amusing situation throughout the entirety of this movie. It is goofy, but it is also just very clever in this setup. And the performance from our lead, y'all. I mean, Fuji Akito as Kunio. He is just like, I'm just making sure I got his name right. Yeah, he's the best, man. His facial expressions of like intensity and everything. Like, I've watched enough Japanese, like anime and live action at this point. Like the exaggerated facial expressions from not just Kunio, but like his friends, like the boss, and with the screaming and just all this stuff. Like, I know that sort of humor is not going to be for everybody. My girlfriend was watching some of it at one point. She's like, "Oh, this shit's dumb," and I'm just like, "Hey, it's just a different form of humor. If it doesn't work for you, that's fine, whatever." But I found this hilarious, and without getting into too many additional spoilery details, like as his star is rising, there is a point in this movie where I'm dying laughing about it. There's a point in this movie where he's gonna like do this collaboration, and it's gonna be like, I can't remember, it's gonna be on like an actual television program or if it's being live streamed or all of the above, whatever. But very famous dance dude that he's gonna do this collab with, and he just so happens to run into some guys before that, and he ends up with some things on his person that make it very clear that he's into some ill shit. And it is comic gold, this scene. Just like there's another bit, I'm trying not to spoil too much, but there's another scene early on where they're trying to film one of Kunio's early videos. And like one of the Yakuza is like beating the crap out of this guy with a baseball bat. And dude's all bloody and like claw crawling around behind them. And they're like, "Hey, you're in our shot." And when he's like, "Oh, sorry," and all that stuff. I mean, as if you can't tell, y'all, this movie just had me absolutely dying. And it also had some legitimate heart to it as well. We get some backstory about Kunio and why there is like a fascination with dance, and it goes back to somebody close to him from years before, without getting into too many details about that. There's also a sweet kind of little love angle going down, but they keep it just very cute and not like super heavy-handed and everything. And also Kunio's interactions with that little brat girl that I mentioned, they're endearing. It's so well written, it is so well acted, it is so goofy and funny. And although I will say that the couple instances where we have either the Yakuza stuff with Kunio and his peeps, or there is kind of a rivalry thing going on with guys that they call semi-Yakuza, so I'm guessing they're not of that level yet, but they're trying to climb and claw up to that level. And so don't shy away from the violence and that stuff. It's done cartoonishly, but it is also like pretty bloody and pretty violent too. So that is at least something to keep in mind, y'all. But I was just, what an awesome surprise. This had me just rolling easily in my favorite films of 2026. It has broken the top 10, and I've already seen like over a dozen films at Fantasia thus far, and there's still like well over a week left to go. I think like 10 more days still left, and so that's something to keep in mind. And I've already seen nearly 200 brand new newly released films in 2026. Refer to my letterbox, you'll see all of them. And yeah, this has cracked the 10. It might, I mean, who knows, we're only a little over halfway through the year, but damn, was Break Free so funny. I loved this movie. And yeah, there's a lot more that I would like to mention about it, but I'm not trying to tell you about the entirety of the movie. But also the music, like the dance, like ravey kind of music that they have throughout this film was so good, so well produced, catchy as all hell. I mean, if the music was crappy, a lot of this wouldn't work. And so this did have some pretty nice production values to it too. So everything across the board, top notch about this film, y'all. So that is my thoughts on Break Free, yeah, from director Yu Nakamoto, who I believe also wrote this too. So I really wish that there was another instance festival, like we had a timetable on some sort of release for the limited theatrical or streaming or whatever. It was the North American debut of the film, as I believe I mentioned earlier in this review. So this film is so good. It just warmed my heart. It made me happy. And after a couple stinkers these last few days at the festival, it was nice to pivot back to what is easily in contention for best of the fest for me. So I extend a grande gracias. I've been Jaimé En Fuego. You can find me on all social media sectors: Twitter X, the Instas, Beezy, the fake book, as I call it sometimes. Yeah, obviously, like, share, subscribe here. Comment if you have seen this film, man, or if you intend to keep it on your radar to check out. I mean, I have so many friends who this would just speak to their sensibilities just so succinctly. It would be just great. But yes, it needs to be on your radar if the setup of this just sounds as funny to you as it was to me. Please keep your eyes out for whenever you have the opportunity to see it, whether at a festival or theatrically or eventually like streaming or VOD or something of that nature. Just a reminder, the festival continues running until Sunday, August 2nd. So if you happen to be anywhere near the Great White North, or if you got the ducats and you're feeling impulsive, there are still so many amazing films, dozens upon dozens, that I could recommend and call attention to. All of the information is on the Fantasia website, which is listed in the description of the video below. And man, I just talking about this, like, it just reinvigorated me. A day out in the heat and I'm back home and I get to talk about a great movie. So yeah, everybody, that is going to do it. And yes, thanks so very much, once again for joining me for this little video. So until next time, everybody, hasta luego, sin amigos, constant viewers alike. Say thank you until the Reel of Ka comes around once more. Yes, I hope that we have been well met. I hope that we share more of this film palaver sooner rather than later. And until the next Fantasia review, I believe this was day 8, if I'm either 8 or 9. Boy, and there's still so many great days left to go. We're not even halfway through. But yes, until that next review, y'all, adios.